So tonight we're going to talk about how you improve performance with running. Running is essentially a bunch of single leg squats over and over and over. Every time you hit the pavement, you're basically doing a single leg squat. So you improve your performance by getting better at single leg squats. Now, this may seem overly simplistic, but in fact, it's a really, really good, simple approach to improve performance. One exercise that I like to use a lot for this is a heel touchdown. Now, this is kind of a precursor to a pistol squat, if you're familiar with one of those, but you'll stand with your foot on the ledge of something. You'll stand up, and then from here, you're gonna squat down till your heel touches the ground and back up. Now with this exercise, the key point is to keep your hips level, because if you let the leg or the hip of the leg that's not doing the work sag, you're not gonna nearly get as much bang for your buck. So standing here like this, you wanna start even. So if I drop this hip, you can see what that looks like, and that's putting a lot of strain out here on this side of the hip. So that actually really isn't engaging everything you want to engage, because in fact when you're running, one of the problems that contributes to a lot of different ailments is not engaging these muscles right here, which is why we've been talking a lot about them all month long. So you want to make sure those muscles are engaged, your hips are level, and from there you're going to go down and squat. And now your foot may not touch the floor if your hips are completely level, and that's okay. It's not about how far this foot goes down. It's about keeping your hips level, engaging those muscles on the outside of this thigh, and keeping good balance. And that's another point that's really crucial with running, is not only do you have to have really good single leg strength, you need really good stability. Because if you're constantly on one leg or no legs the entire time you're running, if you have absolutely no balance or your knee collapses in every time you stand on one leg, you have a much increased risk of injury with running, but also that's going to affect your performance because you're simply wasting a bunch of energy. When your foot collapses or your knee goes in or you do extra rotation, you're basically using up energy to do things other than push yourself forward or go faster. So that's one exercise I really like to use for runners to help them improve their strength. Another one is a single leg deadlift. And this may seem like, well, it's a deadlift, right? I deadlift all the time with two legs. Why do I need to do a single leg deadlift? Again, it's that stability that's really, really important. And also, people tend to favor one leg over the other. So when you're deadlifting, odds are you're using one leg more than the other. So doing a single leg deadlift really forces you to actually engage each leg equally. It also places, if you're holding one dumbbell, rotational forces on the upper body that you then have to control, which are key for running. So to demonstrate this, I'm gonna use a barbell, but I would actually suggest that you use a dumbbell and you hold it in the hand that's opposite the leg doing the work. Simply because for that same reason, you're gonna get all that engagement from those glute muscles, from those hip muscles, and that's really what you want to engage. That's what you want to train, and that's where a lot of the keys to improving performance and preventing injury are. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this barbell, and with this exercise, so I ask people to do a single leg deadlift for me all the time, and usually what I get looks like this, which is okay-ish. But what they're actually doing is using their back, not keeping their back level and not isolating that motion to the hip joint. For a true single leg deadlift, to really engage that back hamstring and the glute, you want to only hinge at the hip. So instead of looking like this, where I get really close to the floor, it's going to look more like this, where I'm just moving at the hip. The bar is much further away from the floor, but I am really engaging that hamstring. I'm forcing stability. I'm not rushing through the movement. I'm controlling it and using the hamstring and the glutes. I'm also not rotating away and opening up. So another mistake people tend to make with this exercise is as they go down, they rotate this hip, so the opposite hip that's doing the work, up towards the ceiling because it allows them to get a little bit further. You want to keep your hips square in front of you So if your hips were headlights, you'd want those headlights pointing straight ahead. You want to just go straight down. And when you run out of room in your hamstring, you run out of room. And that's okay. Again, it's not a contest to see how far you can go or how close that barbell gets to the floor. It's how well can you execute the movement, because that's what's really going to ultimately improve your running performance. So going back full circle, to improve your running performance, you really want to develop really good single leg strength and stability. And that is best served by doing single leg exercises and single leg strength training. The heel touchdown, or if I can do, I don't want to do that with my quad being injured, or a pistol squat, something like that, those are really going to force you to use that single leg stability and strength. Those are excellent. Single leg deadlift, also excellent for improving performance. If you have any questions about how to improve your performance with running, what to do, or if you're injured and you can't run the way you want to, shoot me a message. I'd love to chat, and have a wonderful night. I gotta find the button now. Oh, there it is.